Every day, search the airwaves for the unusual, the exotic, and captivating stories from around the world on this edition of Shortwave Stories, presented by Studio Jijjiji.
The Ant and the Grasshopper. In a field one summer's day, the grasshoppers were hopping and bouncing and jumping about, chirping and singing to their heart's content. One by one, the ants marched by, step after step, knees marching high. Each of the ants carried food, bringing it back to their nest for the winter. The grasshoppers waved to the ants. Come and play with us instead of toiling and moiling in that way. The ants shook their heads. We are storing food for the winter and recommend that you do the same. Why bother with winter, said the grasshoppers. We have plenty of food right now. The ants shook their heads and went on their way, marching down the path to their nest. Every day that summer, the grasshoppers hopped and pranced about the meadow. And every day, the ants marched into the meadow, gathered food, and marched back to their nest. As the days went by, the sun began to lose its warmth. The butterflies disappeared, and the leaves on the trees turned red and gold. Still, the grasshoppers did nothing but jump around. A chill crept in from the north, making them shiver. All of the plants died away, and before long, the grasshoppers found themselves alone in an empty field, listening to the wind whistle through the stubby stalks and howl across the sky. The grasshoppers shivered and shook, very cold and hungry. They huddled together. What can we do? We didn't prepare for the winter. Thinking of all of the food that the ants had put away, the grasshoppers decided to ask for their help. They hopped along the ants' well-worn path and found the little doorway in the soil. They knocked on the door and called out, "Ants, ants, please help us." The ants scurried to answer the door. They crowded into the doorway to see who their visitor was. The grasshoppers hung their heads in shame. I guess we should have prepared for the future, after all, instead of just dancing in the meadow all summer. The ants nodded their heads. Yes, you should always plan ahead. Luckily, we have prepared well and have enough to share. The ants invited the grasshoppers inside their nest, and they all shared in their winter feast. The moral of this story is, always be prepared.